A very good day to all of you. Today we'll be completing elements of English grammar, and in the next chapter we'll be doing verb and verb phrase. Today we'll be taking up closed open class items, stative dynamic concept, proforms, and sentence processes. So closed class, I'm starting with closed class items. We did parts of speech in the previous lectures, and there were two kinds of words, two groups of items. The first group comprised nouns, verbs, adjectives, adverbs, and the next group, the second group, included articles, demonstratives, prepositions, conjunctions, interjections, auxiliaries, etc. So the second group, which included articles, prepositions, conjunctions, etc., these are the closed class items. Closed class items are so called because this class is not extendable by creation of additional members to this class, to this class, and rarely a language ever has added a preposition or a conjunction to it. So closed class items, in that case, one can make the inventory of all the items of this closed class system. Closed class items are reciprocally exclusive. That is, the decision to use one item excludes the possibility of using the same item in the same structure. For instance, we can have the book or we can have a book, but we cannot have the book. Also, they are reciprocally defining. That is, it is less easy to define an individual item than to define it in relation to the rest of the system. This gets clearer by a non-linguistic analogy. If we were told that a student came third in an examination, so the meaning we attach to third will depend on how many students took the examination. Third in a set of 4 has a different meaning from the third in a set of 30. So this way, closed class items have their own characteristics. Then the open class items are a class of items in that they share grammatical properties and structural possibilities with each of the members of the class, and they are extendable. They are indefinitely extendable. New items are constantly being added to this class, but that does not mean that it's very easy to add new nouns, or nothing can be added to the class of closed class items. Now, in a phrase or in a sentence, if we use an item at a particular place, if we select an item at a particular place, it puts great constraints on what is to be used at another place. We can make this more clear with the help of an example. Here you can see one example, that is, John may sit by this fountain. And now this can be divided into John as a subject, and the rest of the thing is the predicate, that is, may sit by this fountain. Now the predicate has 5 elements, and we can number all these 5 elements, starting with may as an auxiliary, and sit, which is the lexical verb, may be numbered as 1, sit as 2, by as 3, and this as 4, and fountain as 5. Now, may as an auxiliary is number 1. It is a closed class item because we can list all the members, all the auxiliaries over here, and exhaust the entire set. But this is not the case with second. But the verbs are open class items, and we cannot exhaust everything, exhaust the whole set. 3, again, preposition is a closed class item. 4th, demonstrative, this, that, closed class item. And finally, fountain, which is a noun, is an open class item. So columns, there is a sharp difference between the columns 1, 3, and 4, which are closed class items, and 2 and 5, which are open class items. Now, these are not hard and fast rules. That is, we can have items which are heterogeneous. That is, they may belong to the smaller category. They may be part of the smaller category as well as the big category, that is open class items. For instance, verbs and adverbs. Verbs in the form of auxiliary belong to the smaller category of closed class items, and verbs, lexical verbs like play, run, walk, etc., they belong to the open class category. Likewise with adverbs, when they correspond to adjectives, and they are formed from adjectives by the addition of a suffix ly. So the so the adverb completely, it belongs to the bigger category, that is the open class item. As then There are other adverbs like now, forward, then, etc., which belong to the closed class items. So there is no hard and fast rules, as I told you. Items may belong to both the classes. The next thing that we are going to talk about is stative dynamic concept, which we have been talking about in the previous lectures. Stative, we have been talking about stative and dynamic verbs, that is, verbs that take up ing form and progressive form are the dynamic verbs, and those that do not take are the stative verbs. We are going to add another feature to this, to what we have already done. Today we are going to I'm going to tell you that nouns and adjectives are characterized naturally as stative, especially the nouns which refer to entities which are stable, both the concrete nouns as table, chair, etc., as well as abstract nouns like fun, length, joy, etc. Likewise is the case with adjectives. Adjectives like tall, red, big, etc., they are stative, but that does not mean that we cannot use all these adjectives dynamically. For example, in the case of a child who may be well behaved, in a particular one moment he may become a nuisance or naughty the next moment. So to describe these particular conditions of transitory conditions of behavior, uh, adjectives may resemble verbs, and so that we can use adjectives in a dynamic manner. And for that, the stative verb can be used along with the ing. You can see another sentence over here. This sentence is there in front of you. That is, he's being a nuisance. He's being naughty again. So being a nuisance and being naughty, normally we cannot use as dynamic, but here we can use them dynamically, because as I told you that there are certain circumstances like transitory conditions of behavior where they can be used in a dynamic manner. And again, there are others for instance, we have two sentences like John he wrote a book. So wrote here is a dynamic, but when we nominalize it, it becomes the writing of a book. So the action is seen as a static thing. Then another example is with the participle. Participle, which can be used both as a verb, ing. Example is the girl is sitting, and it can also be used an adjective like the sitting girl. So it can be used as in both cases, in stative as well as in dynamic. We can use verbs in a dynamic manner, even the stative verbs in certain circumstances. Now, taking up the third point, that is the proforms. This was our third thing that we were going to do. We are doing it. So proforms are items that can be substituted for some other items, and a very good example of this is pronouns, which can be used in place of nouns. Just have a look at the sentence that John searched the big room and the small one. So here John searched the big room and the small one. One is a substitute for room. As you can see that pronouns, they normally replace noun phrases rather than nouns. So again, there is an example number 2 here in front of your screen, on your screen. The man invited the little Swedish girl because he liked her. So now we have a noun phrase over here, the little Swedish girl, and which is replaced by a pronoun her in the second part of the sentence, which is, this is a subordinate clause. Uh, so it is replaced by a pronoun. Now we have uh, noun phrase, the little Swedish girl, and why we replace it with the pronoun? Because it helps us to avoid the repetition and for various stylistic reasons. Just like we have pronouns substituting for nouns and noun phrases, so also there are proforms for that substitute for place, time, and other adverbials under certain circumstances. Now, again, there are a few examples on your screen, like Mary is in London and John is there too. So in London again is a prepositional phrase, uh, uh, which is replaced by, which is substituted by there, which is a proform of substituting for an adverbial in London, adverbial of place. The second example is Mary arrived on Tuesday. On Tuesday, this is an adverbial of time. Now, adverbial of time is replaced by then. So we have two proforms over here. The third sentence, John searched the big room carefully and the small one less so. Now here, carefully is being replaced by so, that is adverbial of showing the manner that John searched the room carefully, the big room carefully, but the small one he did not do so in the same manner. And now, uh, another important function that along with that so can have along with do, that is, it can replace the entire predication. It can be it can substitute for the entire predication. Again, one more sentence is here, that is, she hoped that he would search the room carefully before her arrival, but he didn't do so. Now, do so replaces the predication. And I told you that a sentence is divided into subject and predicate. Predicate is all that which is not subject, and predication is when you exclude the operator that is the predication. Now, we are talking about predication over here. Do so replaces the predication. That is, let's have a look again at the sentence. She hoped that he would search the room carefully before her arrival, but he didn't do so. The do so replaces this predication. Now, pro-predication may also be replaced by just the operator. We have examples where we have just it replaces the just the operators. They replace uh, they act as substitute for the predications. The next we come to question and negation. That is the WH questions. Now, just as we have the proforms, we did these proforms for nouns and nouns phrases and for adverbials. These proforms, they have a general meaning. They convey a general meaning that, okay, I know about, I know what this item refers to, so I don't need the complete information in full. But on the other hand, these WH proforms, they convey the meaning that I don't know about this, what you're talking about. I don't know about this, what this item refers to, so I need the complete information. Now have a look at this page. There are three examples. Mary is in London. This is a sentence. Now, if you were to use a proform other than WH question, in London is replaced, is substituted by there. Mary is there. So where is Mary? This is the WH proform. Now, proforms are also used for identification of subject, object, complement, or an adverbial of sentence. There is an example. They make him the chairman every year. Now, how we get the identification of the subject, object, complement, or adverbial takes place? Let's have a look at this sentence and let's identify the elements. That is, we have this sentence, they as the subject, make as the verb, him as the object, and the chairman, complement, every year, and adverbial. Now, if we want to focus on who makes him we can have the question, who makes him the chairman every year? The focus is on the subject. Whom do they make the chairman every year? Focus on the object, that is, they make him the chairman every year. And what do they make him every year? The focus is again on the complement. And when do they make him the chairman? That is, they make him the chairman every year. The focus is on the adverbial. So these are the WH proforms. Next category we have of the yes/no questions. As WH forms, they elicit information on the parts of the sentence. Likewise, yes/no questions, they seek a yes or no response in relation to the predication. Examples are, is the girl now a student? As you can see, is the girl now a student? This is a yes/no questions. Yes/no question. Again, did John search the room? Had he given the girl an apple? So this challenge is the validity. They seek the response yes in yes or no. It challenges the validity of the predication. Next, we are going to do next topic is negation and assertion. Just as the yes and no question, they challenge the validity of the predication. Negation rejects it. So a negation also rejects it with the help of an operator and a negative item, which is used as not apostrophe t. Again, there were examples like we did. Is the girl now a student? If you want to negate this, the girl isn't a student, and John did not search the room, and he hadn't given the girl an apple. In the previous ones we had, when we were doing yes/no questions, yes/no proforms, we had the examples. Is the girl now a student? Did John search the room? Had he given the girl an apple? So now they become, when we negate the predication, now they become, the girl isn't a student, John did not search the room, and he hadn't given the girl an apple. And now there's another similarity between questions and negations. Let's call this an assertion. Assertion is something which we strongly believe and believe to be true. And now let's take this example. He offered her some chocolates. Now this is an assertion. Now for this to be when we take to convert this into a non-assertion, we have to convert it into either an interrogative, or we have to convert it into a negative. Remember, I told you that assertion is something which you strongly believe. And now if there is any slight doubt about that, so either you have to convert it into a question, or you have to convert it into a negative. Interrogative and negative, they are similar together. Again, they are not two separate systems, but as you can see from the diagram, they are interrelated. We have sentence on the left side at the bottom. You see sentence, which is divided to assertion and non-assertion. Assertion, we can have a positive and declarative, like the sentence that we had, he offered her some chocolates. And non-assertion, we can have interrogative and negative. Interrogative can be both positive and negative. Of course, there's one more thing which we need to see. In the sentence, we use he offered her some chocolates. Now let's see what we can do with the negative and the interrogative. Have a look at these examples. Now, did he offer her any chocolates, or he didn't offer her any chocolate? There is a similarity, because both negative and interrogative, they spring from the same node. So in both cases we have any. But in the assertion one, we have he offered her some chocolates. But when we convert it into interrogative, as you can see, we use any. Did he offer her any chocolates, or he didn't offer her any chocolates? This was all about sentence processes. We did about closed class system and open class system. We did about stative and dynamic verbs. We will be doing more about stative and dynamic concepts in the next chapter. That is when we take up verb and verb phrase, and we'll also be doing about proforms in greater detail, more proforms, and more, of course, more sentence processes in the coming chapters. So this was all for today, and thank you very much.